you you've only got one more game to play. And then that's it.
That's it.
Life's over as you know it. What do you play?
Are you asking me?
Am I?
I have an answer.
What's your answer?
My answer is always going to be, unfortunately, for anyone that thought otherwise, it's going to be Metroid Prime. Though, granted,
Interesting.
it'll only be like 3 hours at most. And then
before the lights shut off.
Yeah. But that's all I need to finish that game.
Welcome to Memory Leak.
What the fuck is your answer, bitch?
My answer would probably be Donkey Kong Country.
I thought you were going to say that. The first one, right?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Even though I think 2 is a better game.
I think the first one's got better pacing.
That's true from a pacing perspective.
Yeah,
but
I think
2
it's just
is
a
more
smoother
of an interesting game.
Yeah.
Welcome to Memory Leak.
Welcome back to fucking Memory Leak. It's been several weeks.
It's been
It's been weeks.
Yeah,
Because
sorry about that.
it's Ben's fault. He decided that he was going to get sick, and then that he needed a break from all this, and then that he started to have a breakdown when he bought a pack of Lunchley, and there was moldy cheese, and he was really fucked up about it. So he was afraid that he was becoming too influencer adjacent, and he went into he just took some time off to refine himself. And now that Mr. Beast has been slaughtered publicly before everyone's eyes with a guillotine, we're back ready to talk about
We're
digital
back,
entertainment.
A dinosaur story.
Excuse me?
Don't worry about it. I was referencing a movie with John Goodman.
Oh, isn't John Goodman still alive?
Yes.
Good. Okay.
What's your name?
My name is Geron, 3 weeks Geron. And who are you?
Benjamin.
Say it. I know what you want to say. Say it. Count it.
AI sexual
That's
to Benjamin.
not what I thought you were going to say. Not what I thought he was going to say at all. I thought he was going to say something about, something else that you count in weeks, but I guess not.
Oh, I don't even know how 24 weeks.
That seems like very little.
It's around there.
It is around there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, nice. Okay.
Late February. We're like barely halfway.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
When I hear February, it sounds like 2 months to me. Because I just think of it as
I get it because
from
you
the end
don't
of the
think
year.
about
Yeah.
the fucking holiday seasons don't count.
How come we just got an announcement about the Alarmo and no Switch 2?
No, where's the Switch 2? Where's the Switch 2? The Switch is too weak. It sucks.
No,
I went to the Nintendo store
Did you
last
buy
week.
one?
No, but it's
Oh.
funny. The very first thing when you walk in is an Alarmo stand.
Oh, that's funny as shit.
Like,
Were there any
I was
available
with,
when you walked in?
I don't know. I didn't buy any.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I just, whenever I'm in New York, if I'm in
Yeah.
Midtown, I'll go and just like swing by
That's what I
Rockefeller.
would do. Yeah, Rockefeller. And then there's the little weird pizza place
Yeah.
across the street.
So I was with my college roommate and we were walking around. We got brunch like right by Times Square. And so I
Yeah.
was like, let's go check it out. What was funny also is I went to the top floor to see like if they changed any of like the displays or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
They had out before they had even tweeted about it the Proplica,
The sword?
the sword.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Like, did they have it out like boxed and ready to be purchased? Out?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
shit.
They had it
okay.
ready to be purchased and they had it in like a display case so you could
Yeah.
see all the parts.
Oh.
And I was like, this is kind of tight. I was
Yeah.
like, what is this? And literally my roommate, who's like obsessed with Tears of the Kingdom, like
Oh,
says it's
yeah.
his favorite game of all time.
That's healthy.
He doesn't play a lot of games, but so it kind of makes sense.
Right.
For a lot of, I don't know why I'm talking about this. Anyway, Tears of the Kingdom, he loves it, but he looked at it and he goes, it fills me with kind of like a painful twinge that I would have looked at this like as a child and been like, I really want this.
I have to have
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I understand that.
And I was like, memories of a past you that didn't exist because of when you were born.
Yeah, dog. When we were younger, getting like merchandise centered around video games was rare. It
Yeah.
was very rare. It was like you might get some shitty cheap action figures that you have to order from a catalog, or some shitty like, not to disparage the country or anything, but some shitty Chinese ass fucking dollar store looking ass thing that's like it's not Super Mario. It's Duper Hario or some shit. It's like, man, what is this? But
Yeah, some knockoff bootleg shit.
and then any replica like sword, Master Sword replica, they all were wrong. They would all have either
It
too thin of a
seems
blade
really
or.
nice. It was $200.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I
this.
was like, like the mere fact that I had not heard about it at all,
Yeah.
made me assume it was something that was nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
Just
if I
like
had seen the tweet, I actually might have considered getting it. To be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah.
Because I have
You're
issues.
weak. Yeah, I know. I'm surprised you didn't
And
buy an
also, I have a
Alarmo.
child on the way, so I actually have
Oh,
a reason
yeah.
to buy this shit now.
Yeah.
I have a functional reason to buy an Alarmo.
Yeah.
None of you listening to this have a reason to buy an Alarmo because you all
None
have
of you.
cell phones.
Yeah. None of you have a kid. Not a single one of you. Doubt it. No, I don't know. Maybe you do. But what the fuck was I gonna say about the sword? With all the designs from other companies, other like random companies that try to make swords, they all look wrong. And the one that
even
was
the cosplayers, the
yeah,
only
like,
one that ever looks right are like, this is what an actual like weaponsmith like. some guy
yeah,
who,
this is what
would
like
have
a
been worth,
usable sword looks like.
$5,000.
Yeah.
if it were to actually be
It's like
sold.
you can't do that, but having something like that directly from the company
Officially licensed
is great. It's too bad that I'm 34 and not 14. If I were
Yeah.
14, I mean,
that shit would go on your
granted,
Christmas list ASAP.
I was gonna say, let's see if I have $200 to spend if I'm 14. But it's something that even I am considering now, but I really don't need it. I don't have the space for it that I'd like. But yeah, it's more enticing to me than Alarmo. Granted, Alarmo is interesting to me as something to mess with. I don't want to have one.
I'm glad Nintendo
I wanna see
did
how
it
it works.
because that's the kind of shit Nintendo's soul is made of.
Yeah.
Like,
Nintendo's
anybody that like genuinely was like mad at the Alarmo thing
Dog,
doesn't know what they're doing.
it's a one. Okay, well, all right. Let's talk about Nintendo fans. I want to talk about Nintendo fans right in a second. Nintendo fans specifically, none of the other console manufacturers or companies have fans that are quite like this in such a big saturation. They think that Nintendo are their parents. They think Nintendo are their friends. They think Nintendo owes them something. They think Nintendo
I was gonna say, I think it goes above and beyond that kind of relationship.
They think that Nintendo, having been there their entire life, they think that they have contributed something to them other than money and time. And in thinking that when these specific types of fans don't get what they want, they fucking have a tantrum because they think they have to have everything. They think that Nintendo is charging them $100 to get an alarm clock when they're not realizing, no, you don't have to have the alarm clock. You don't need it. It's a fun toy for those who are interested in it. But if you are not interested in it, it's not something that's taking away from like the next the next console or some shit like that. Like you're insane if you think that.
My own personal mantra in 4 simple words: don't like, don't buy.
Don't like, don't buy. It's that easy. And some people are like, that's dismissive of real criticisms. Like, no, it fucking isn't.
This isn't art.
This is like, there is art to this stuff, but these things are products. You can 100% appreciate Alarmo without buying it. You don't have to have it.
Yeah.
You can just be like, oh, that's a cool thing. Someone made a video about it. I get it. I don't have to have this.
It all just stems from lack of or inability to like communicate their feelings and like inability to understand their own feelings. Because like at the end of the day, what they're actually saying, what they're actually feeling means is Nintendo's releasing something that looks like it might be kind of cool, and I don't think it's worth $100. I think I would be willing to pay less than that.
Yeah,
but I can't because they're charging $100.
Because they're charging $100, and I can't do anything about that other than complain.
Yeah,
and I think there's before anyone says calling the kettle black or whatever the fuck it is. I like Nintendo shit. Most of you who know me personally know this, like,
knows that he's a shill.
Deeply, I'm not a shill. That's you. But I'm
not a shill for Nintendo. What does that mean? What does that face mean?
But
we need to dig into that.
But look. And I know we actually talk about Nintendo a lot on this fucking podcast, whatever you want to call it. But I think that a lot of these younger people don't know how to form their own opinions, and they're so afraid of being wrong
That's
that
actually true.
instead of
Have I
just
told you what my professor friends have told me about the rise of
Oh,
ChatGPT?
I am very curious about that. Can I finish the thought real quick?
Yeah.
So I think what a lot of people do, a lot of these younger people do, is instead of actually enjoying something, they need to have the right opinion first. They need to have the right answer first. And what the like YouTubers and shit and all that like to peddle is that Nintendo sucks. Nintendo's is doing the wrong thing. But the problem is they can't see anything outside of what Nintendo is because that's all they think about. Why? I have no fucking idea. So they don't have any perspective to say, oh, they're running a business and not everything they do is for me. Not everything they do is to benefit me, it's to benefit them. And I have the choice to purchase something or to not buy something or to not spend time on something. If I decide that what they're doing is not not of interest to me or not
morally in line with
my your tastes or something, and instead of being like, oh hey, I actually think let's say, oh, Nintendo Switch Online is actually fine and it's only $20. It's like, what the fuck? They're charging money for this shit online. It's like, it's the same as everybody fucking else's. It's just $20. Like it's all peer-to-peer shit.
That being said, I think some of the criticism of the emulation was warranted and it caused them to fix it. So
yeah,
that was like the feedback loop working as intended.
That's a different, like every once in a while it's gonna be right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like
Broken
on
clock.
it. And when
Strikes right twice a day or whatever.
Yeah, and when I say like Nintendo Switch Online, I hear people complain about the like connection quality and things like that. And there are fucked up things about the way Switch connects to the internet, but in general, it's not. When you have the decent conditions, it's not really any worse than the other machines. Especially as someone who plays fighting games. Fighting games suck ass online. They can do anything they want, like add rollback, add anything. It's not going to mean shit if the other person's connection is dog shit. And on Switch, you get it's more common for another person's connection to be dog shit because it's a handheld console using Wi-Fi, and a lot of people don't know how to configure their Wi-Fi.
It's a shitty Wi-Fi protocol too.
And like it doesn't like 2.4 gigahertz. If you put it on the 5 gigahertz connection, it's actually quite good. But if you don't,
2017 machine. It is what it is.
Even then, like the Switch OLED, the antenna for it is on the outside of the shielding instead of the inside.
Oh,
the old Switch, the problem with it is that the antenna is wired inside behind the shielding with all packed in with all the other shit.
Right.
Which is why you get the same like Bluetooth issues with the Joy-Con and stuff like that too, because everything's so tightly packed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you had a point.
There's a lot of threads I could have pulled on just then.
Yeah,
let me take them one at a time. You mentioned kids these days are struggling to form their own opinion unless they know that their opinion is right.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's an issue, not even just with kids. I think that's the nature of having social media to back up your opinion.
Right.
As soon as people watch a movie or a TV show, like it's fun to go and look at the discourse online. But at the same time, the flip side is your opinion is definitely going to be formulated by the general consensus.
Yeah.
So it's like even if you didn't know how you felt about something yet, if you let yourself sit with it and form your own opinion, it's a good, fun thought exercise in terms of thinking critically.
Right.
Rather than just going and getting your opinion formed and molded for you.
Yeah, that's like going and grabbing. Instead of you go to a pottery class and you buy a fucking
I'm totally guilty of this
pot off the shelf. Everyone
if I watch a challenging movie, which I love to do, like I have to exert effort, like mental effort to sit and like try to think through what the movie is trying to tell me.
Right.
Especially if something like surrealist or whatever it is.
Yes, yeah.
And then I go and I intentionally try to sort of like validate if the things that I'm thinking about it are things that other people have thought about it, rather than just accepting
just taking what you got and just sitting with it for a bit.
Yeah, and I think that's important.
I think a lot of people because of social media and whatnot and the ability to just communicate with people instantly, a lot of people are very quick to try to consume something so they can have their opinion, so they can have the conversation ASAP. But a lot of this stuff, like for me especially, I like to I'll sit on something for maybe a month before I can really decide how I feel about it. It's like, because it's like if I still have the taste of the food in my mouth, I'm going to speak of it differently than if I've had a minute, had a day to digest it and, be like, did I like that or was I hungry?
Yep.
And
then I want to come back to this specific topic about liking things. But what I was going to say about ChatGPT and Gen AI, I have two friends that are professors, and they both noticed at different levels of collegiate level educational systems, institutions. First off, like the cat's out of the bag. Everybody uses Gen AI for every assignment.
Right.
So what they do is they tell them to like include their prompts.
Oh,
and include like, okay, how did you use Gen AI? Almost treat the appendix as a Gen AI bibliography.
Yeah.
Like, how did you use this tool to get the
prompts?
answers?
Yeah.
But what they also found as a part of doing this is that kids are now struggling to even answer questions at all without first validating against ChatGPT. Which a lot of times can be wrong. So it's not like it's that helpful. But it's the fact that like they're losing the confidence to even be able to answer the question in the first place.
Yeah. And I think it's, that's the next evolution of people Googling shit when they want an answer for something, when they think they have an answer for something, but they're just not, they don't want to say it out loud and be wrong. This is like going beyond, like they can't live without the AI telling them like, oh yeah, you shouldn't break up with them because they hit you 5 times a week.
Well, sure. But, I mean, I wasn't going that far. I was talking more just like answering
but you
questions.
You know what I mean,
education questions. I do.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Maybe that was
one of these two professor friends,
crazy,
by the way, does use ChatGPT like in her daily life.
Yeah.
Like when we went to New York, she was like, provide me a packing list based on going to New York, and here's the weather.
Yeah.
And it's like, but like, you don't like you're not just gonna like think about the things that you're doing and like just
kind of
just do it like for yourself. Like why do you even need this
right
to help you? I don't know. She gets a lot out of it. She treats it as sort of like tier 1 therapy as opposed to, and then sort of like saves the bigger questions for actual therapy. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like she's getting use out of it.
If it works for her,
positive.
Great. That scares me a little bit.
It's weird.
Like not in a oh shit, they're gonna take everything away from they're gonna take away from real people. Though I do feel that way about certain generative AI stuff. But it's like I think that's putting a little bit too much faith in the hands of something that really doesn't give a shit. If you know what I mean?
Or like know anything.
Yeah, like it doesn't give a shit to know.
It doesn't know who you are. It doesn't
know
what your wardrobe is. It doesn't know what you like to do. It doesn't know how your mind might change. It doesn't know what events you're going to.
It's answering based on...
It's not another person you're asking.
Yeah.
It's not like me going to a friend and being like, what should I pack for this trip that we're going on?
Right.
It's weirder than that.
It's an impersonal, like, fucking Jarvis-ass situation where it's cool on paper, but in the reality of using generative AI, especially like that, or ChatGPT or whatever, using it as a tool here and there to basically do an internet search for you, fine.
I use it. My number one use case that I almost exclusively use it for now is if it's a code base that I don't know from like the mid 2000s that I'm like digging up as part of my job.
Yeah,
I will throw that code in ChatGPT and be like, "Tell me what this is doing."
Okay.
And that'll be my starting point. I don't know where to like focus what I'm trying to learn.
That seems like an appropriate use because you're basically giving a computer language.
Yeah.
I'm using it as
an aggregation tool on a sort of like language agnostic interface.
It's like using a calculator at that point, It's not, you're not asking it how the fuck to, like, should I be in the delivery room kind of questions. You know what I mean?
I really like, should I be in the what should I do with my child today?
Yeah, no, for real. People
should I give my child the iPad?
Should I give them the iPad?
Yes, give him the iPad.
My child,
show him me, show him everything. I will help him.
I'll tell them what to do.
Your child is mine.
Your child.
I am Grok.
Put that fork in the outlet.
All right. But really though, for real, like I'm not scared of AI. I don't want anyone to think that. What I'm worried about is like any tool that has great potential. What are humans going to do with it, and how are they going to break
Misuse
themselves?
Yeah,
how are they going to end up abusing it? When I was talking about like people, you use the word kids. I meant like just young people. like
Right, like in
young
their
adults,
developmental
even
adolescents.
someone who's just like in their late 20s. That's a
Sure.
young
Yeah,
person
yeah.
in
I mean, there's
comparison
still
to
social
us.
development
Yeah,
going on at that age for sure.
and using the internet as a sounding board for everything is so like you just end up some of these people will end up in a crisis of either they don't know what the fuck they want to say, they don't know what the hell they have to say, they don't know what opinions of theirs are actually worthy of anything because they're so used to just kind of getting an opinion off the shelf, or like what I've seen a lot, especially with fucking Twitch streamers that have like Twitter accounts and shit like that, or social media accounts, whatever. They tend to overshare.
Oh yeah.
And the oversharing is like, what are you doing this for? Are you doing this to have people kind of give you the little bit of pity that you want?
So the oversharing is weird to me because on the one hand, I agree it's fucking weird and parasocial.
Yeah.
It gets in this parasocial thing that is kind of new-ish.
Yeah,
it's like tapping
the
into
way it is
something
now
and-
is definitely brand
Yeah, it's
new.
an unhealthy mode of engagement.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the fact that they have something akin to a diary to share too, even if it's real people and probably is not the right vehicle,
Yeah.
is probably better than how most people in like the 50s and 60s bottled shit up
Yeah.
until it exploded.
I don't think it should be bottled up.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where I'm like, there are so many ways to take.
Yeah,
Write
I'm hopeful
shit
that
down for
people will
yourself.
just like look back at this and just kind of cringe at themselves. You know, like 10 years, they'll be like, why
learn
was
something from it.
Why
Yeah,
was I doing that?
but at
Like,
the same,
we had that like the
oh,
forum
I have
age.
that shit all the time.
Like when forums were a thing
Yeah.
and like message boards. And
Yeah.
it's like I could go back to shit and I just would be like, oh my god, that was edgelord cringe
Yeah,
bullshit.
you want to know what makes me ill sometimes? I go back to old YouTube videos from
Oh,
like
hell
14, 15, 20, well, around 20
like my
years
guild
ago.
video,
Huh?
Like my guild video.
Oh my God. Well, I don't think I commented on that, but I'll go to shit like that and then see YouTube will make sure I see the comments. And I didn't even realize I commented, and I'll see something that looks like it was from a totally different person.
Yeah.
But it's me using the same account that I was using then.
Yeah.
Like the account I use on YouTube right now
That
is
real history.
it's grassroots. Ow. It's got.
Were you about to just out your
Yeah,
username?
I was about to out that. Don't. Yeah, whatever. I mean, there's nothing there. But
Grass what?
no.
Grassroots?
All right, delete all that. Delete all that. All right, delete anything where it sounds like I'm saying grass something. Hey, okay. But I made that account when I was 15, specifically so I could watch videos that were like mature rated.
This isn't a Froman situation.
No, I wasn't using that on quite everything yet. But what are you looking for?
I'm trying to look up. Is this what you were saying?
Yeah.
What's the rest of it?
Huh?
What's the rest of it?
Well, now I don't want to do it with this thing on. But there's literally nothing there.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell you. You know what? I'm not going to tell you.
All right, fine.
I think that's better. But yeah, nah. So now I'm distracted because I feel like everyone saw what I was doing.
Maybe a hot take. I actually don't think the Gen AI shit and how it's affecting people's sort of like comfort level and confidence level is
Yeah.
going to be as negative of an impact as social media was. And I think
Right.
at least we're learning from the dangers of social media. Like
Yeah.
I feel like the Gen Alpha
Mm-hmm.
has seen the damage to some degree,
Has
or like
seen people-
millennials know the damage as parents.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think enough people have seen the damage that they know how
I
to.
think Gen Z
kinda
probably
skirt
got the
around it
shortest
now.
end of the stick in terms of like revolutionary
Yeah.
tech changes that fuck people up in ways that were
Yeah,
unintended.
ways that were unpredicted, or maybe they were predicted, maybe they were intended. Who knows? But that's some tinfoil hat shit. I know. But the where the fuck was I going? Because I was so worried about that fucking username, that YouTube username shit.
I've got a thread.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I was listening to a podcast, Get Played, with Heather
Oh.
Ann Campbell. I don't know if you know her.
No, I don't.
She's like a relatively prolific comedian writer. She
Okay.
like wrote for SNL. But she
okay.
also like was huge into gaming. She's like a games journalist for like Edge magazine or
Yeah.
something. And she was like at Evo Moment 34 or whatever. Like
Oh, she was there.
Yeah, she like
present?
covered the release of Street Fighter 2. So she's like
That's
been
funny. I
around the
didn't know
scene.
she's been around.
She's
that
also
long.
very good at video games.
Oh, that's funny.
In Elden Ring, there's like a boss that you fight at the beginning.
Yeah.
You're like supposed to get the shit beat out of you.
Yeah.
And she like beat it on her first
Wait,
try.
is that Melania? Is
What?
that Melania? That's what I hear all the time.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know Elden Ring.
But she like
that, so.
beat the boss at level 1 when you're supposed to get like one shot.
That's
basically.
funny.
She
But, I mean,
fucking beat it.
She's been doing this shit as a job since the games were designed
And she's
to
funny.
suck
Anyway,
away quarters. So
Yeah,
that's funny.
She does that with
Yeah.
the Doughboys guys. I forget what their names are, Nick and something. So they have this Get Played podcast. It's reasonably funny. It's probably one of the more well known video game podcasts. And they had Jason Schreier on.
Oh, yeah,
somewhat
yeah.
recently talking about his book.
Right.
And
The Blizzard book, right?
Yeah, the Blizzard
Yeah.
book. But one of the things that was interesting was talking about like, first off, it was talking about the depressing state of being a journalist in general, games journalist or otherwise.
Yeah.
And, specifically the revenue model, which I didn't even think about how fucked the revenue model is for websites in general
Yeah.
because of the AI summaries that Google has started spawning.
Oh,
Because it takes
people just
clicks
don't even
away.
fucking
They
go
don't
to
even
the
click on
site.
the
Yeah,
site
they just
anymore,
look at the
which is,
summary.
like-
Yeah. I
which
did not
is
consider
so
that.
ass backwards
Yeah.
because like if they're using the site, like that's how Google makes money is,
Yeah.
is the ad revenue on other
Oh,
sites.
sites. Yeah.
So if they're cannibalizing the other sites,
there's nothing.
there's
like,
nothing for them to
and-
generate AI from.
And what's the point of like, doing all the SEO work when
That's some
do-
shoot
doing-
shoot yourself
doing
in
it-
the foot
yeah,
type shit.
like doing it well means that the AI, what's the
AI is
fuck?
going to scrape
what,
it.
what is the AI called?
Google's
Yeah.
Claude? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
it
It's
has
not
a
Claude.
fucking
Claude
name.
is a standalone.
That's yeah.
Bard?
No, it's not Bard. It's definitely not Bard. I threw my phone across the room because I didn't want to look at
Google LLM is Gemini.
it. Gemini, yeah, that's right. Okay, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, nah. What the fuck was I gonna say, man? The
AI summaries.
yeah, the AI summaries, man. It's just like I honestly don't trust the AI summary, like AI and like the first result as the AI shit. I don't trust it yet.
Yeah.
So for me, I still scroll down and see if there's a link that gives me what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But I'm sure most people aren't doing that when it's just giving them an answer immediately,
Yeah.
you know? So
I mean, it's definitely eating into it one way
Yeah.
or the other.
yeah.
So it's like the dire situation that games journalism was in
Yeah.
is going to be even more dire and non-existent. But so basically he writes books, he does all sorts of things. He's got a
Mhm.
steady job at Bloomberg, which is nice.
Yeah.
He much prefers writing books compared to like reviewing games or doing any of that
Yeah.
bullshit. He like really likes the investigative reporter. type
I
shit.
feel like that's probably more that feels more rewarding, especially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes just talking to people.
Yeah.
But he reviewed Echoes of Wisdom. And
Oh,
he
that's
talked about
fun.
how he didn't really like it.
Yeah.
And but it was interesting because I feel like it's kind of a hot take. Like
Mhm.
generally speaking, Echoes of Wisdom is reviewed
Is
quite
well,
favorably.
yeah.
People talk about the UI challenges, but
Yeah.
so how many things you can collect. and all
Right.
that,
The
which I
UI is
get.
very funny.
But
yeah.
hearing his complaints, it's like, oh, I haven't heard anybody say that, and I was
Yeah.
like, this is an interesting opinion. And I was just reminded of how refreshing it is when
Mhm.
somebody has
It,
their own opinion.
yeah, it has
and
a
it's not
thought
something
of
that's
their own.
parroted.
Exactly. It's not just they're not just repeating the same few points that everybody's repeating just because that's
Yeah,
what
it's
everyone
like-
wants to hear at that point.
And
you
it's
know
a
what I mean?
very much like a to each their own situation.
yeah,
Like he wasn't malicious about it.
right.
And it was also something interesting where it's like when you hear somebody talk about their opinion rather than reading the text of it,
yeah,
it comes
change-
off differently.
it changes it a bit. Yeah,
I think that's part of why Nintendo fanboys, going back to the beginning, are so rabid, is because
Mhm.
there's no nuance to text-based information,
yeah,
which is almost all that they're able to consume.
That's all-
unless
that's-
it's like
they-
a fucking YouTuber.
they consume the most, and then when they do finally listen to like a YouTube or something like that, it's some not to be fucking
intentionally inflammatory.
Well, I'm not trying to be mean about it.
Controversy.
I'm just trying to be as honest as I can. It's some sniveling child, basically sniveling man child that doesn't know how to read, doesn't know how to speak, doesn't know how to actually
Yeah.
critically look at the information they're taking in and parroting, and instead they just take it at face value and take it emotionally.
Yeah.
It's like,
We should have game for free.
no. Understand what you're saying.
It's like the
before you say
opposite
it.
of critical thinking.
Yeah, for real. It's like, but that's like, it's not only, it's just because it's a fucking video game podcast. Who gives a shit? That's with a lot of things. A
That's
lot
with
of people
everything.
have
That's
been
with everything.
enabled to
That's fucking political commenting.
It's-
It goes
yeah,
back down to
especially.
2000.
like no matter what your opinion is, if it's fueled exclusively by emotions, then you're gonna have a hard time conveying that to anyone with a sense of like, conveying what you're thinking to someone and having them understand.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
so
don't mean to
good.
quote him ever.
Yeah,
but
please don't do that. But like realistically, it's if you come at somebody mad, not saying that you're unjustified for doing so. That's not what I'm saying at all. Like if your opinion is fueled by anger, then use that anger to find the correct information and the correct points to illustrate what you need to another person or convey that to another person,
you
rather
gotta
than
channel it.
just taking your initial anger and believing that, only that. And if anything changes your mind, you kind of like dismiss it, kind of thing. Don't do that.
Right.
I mean, and everyone's guilty of it. No one's fucking free of, except me. No, I'm kidding. No one's free of like being driven by emotion and then being stuck on that emotion rather than letting themselves cool down and seeing if that emotion is still driving them forward. Because if it is still there, then obviously there's very much something to it, and you probably then need to let it out,
Yeah. It's like when your parents tell you if you have an idea for a tattoo that you really want, you gotta wait a year, and if you still want it, then all right, and then we'll talk about it.
You're probably
You don't have to wait a
gonna-
year to form an opinion, but like it's the same concept. Don't let your temporary emotional flare ups guide you incorrectly.
Right. And hell, don't let incorrect information guide your emotions,
Sure. I mean that's
That's-
a whole other topic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in New York this past week.
Yeah.
The week before that, I was in Richmond,
Yeah.
and I saw the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Orchestra.
Oh, I didn't know you did that. That's funny.
I sent a picture.
I didn't realize that's what it was. That's what I was looking
It
at.
has a big FF7.
I
logo.
glanced at it real quick because the
That's
background of the
sad.
chat is evil.
It's tight. What?
The background of the chat is evil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I have to. I can't have that open when I'm in public.
So that was tight.
Oh.
It's funny because I saw a live orchestra 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
saw
I
Final
realized
Fantasy
that.
VII Rebirth 1 week by the Richmond Symphony Orchestra, and then I saw next week fucking London Philharmonic and Carnegie Hall. I will say the London Philharmonic is a much better orchestra.
I'm
than
sure.
the Richmond Symphony Orchestra.
I'm sure.
So
I'm sure
that
you live
is
the
a
experience
little-
of Tar.
I'm a little bit. I mean, I was never a conductor
Yeah.
or a
But-
lesbian.
Well,
But,
yeah, but you watch the. I'm talking about just the,
But yeah,
the
no, just
music part
classical
of it.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have higher standards for classical music, but I still enjoyed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Symphony.
Yeah.
There were a couple musical arrangements, specifically of some of the final tracks that I was like really looking
Mhm.
forward to. That they kind of like butchered, in my opinion, in
Interesting.
terms of how it hits in the actual game.
Yeah.
Because the way they did it was interesting. They basically take you through the whole game.
Okay. They
Like
they
they've
use
got
it.
they've got the screen, but they're literally taking you like the
From-
first tracks are from the intro of the game,
Yeah.
and they show clips of like everything through the game.
Everything through the game as they play through.
Yeah, they've got like
Okay.
a world map medley that goes through all the world maps.
Oh,
They've
that's
got a
cool.
battle medley, boss
Yeah.
battle medley, and then they go through some of the unique boss battles
Yeah.
throughout the game, and then like the final
The
sequences at the end.
final
So
confrontation. Yeah.
it was actually pretty funny because I was with my friend who had not played Rebirth.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
funny
like,
as
you
shit.
just saw the whole game.
My thought is that some of those symphonies or whatever are, especially for something that recent,
Yeah.
would would kind of be weird about spoilers. Essentially,
They did not
feel like they
consider
don't give a
spoilers at all.
I feel like they didn't give. I feel like they
At
figured if you're going
all.
to see this thing, then you
Yeah.
probably played the game the
Yeah.
day it came out.
And on the
So-
flip side, they probably realized if they did try to be spoiler
They'd
free
be
or whatever,
missing
like
so
they
much
would
shit.
fucking hamstring themselves in terms of what they could play.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like the Zelda Symphony stuff. I think they're good. I think they miss a lot of interesting tracks they could have had. because they
even
kind of
just,
keep it. you
Yeah,
know,
with the
like
Zelda
world
one,
map
I
shit.
feel like there's, especially nowadays with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, how the sound direction goes.
Yeah,
Like a lot of it ties to the moments of the game
yeah, yeah.
and the transitions, which is
Yeah.
exactly what the Rebirth Symphony did.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like it's all about sort of like how things lead
Like
from
link
one
to
event
link
to
to
another.
link to link. Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, you
Pun not
just
intended.
you literally cannot do that if you're going to be spoiler free. Which,
Right,
Again,
yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, some of the best musical moments in that game are at
are,
the end
are
of the
huge
fucking game,
spoilers.
like the last boss sequences.
Yeah. So
I know.
it's not time for me yet, but
Hopefully one day.
yeah, hopefully one day. I freaked out and bought RE4 this weekend because it was $9. No. I already had the remake
On Switch?
on Switch. I was like,
'Cause
fuck
you
it, let's
played my
just
version?
have it. I was like, this is fine. So I
It's
can,
worth it.
because I told you I had dreams of the game being on a portable, like PSP and shit like that. But by the time it came out on Switch, I'm like, it's too fucking late. So I went ahead and bought it, and I just blasted through it in like a day or a day and a half or something
Yeah.
like that. And it's like, all right.
What are we at? I got so many topics here that
Yeah.
I've been typing out. All right, we still got time. So let's talk about the 343 Industries rebuild.
Becoming just Halo Studios, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
D&I.
DNI.
Yeah, there was a bunch of shit about how like the Halo person is all DEI.
Yeah, I hate that shit. If it, wait, DNI or
Not DNI.
DEI?
DEI.
Yeah.
Diversity, equity.
I hate when
inclusion.
Siggins, you throw that around. I hate when people throw woke around. I hate when all that shit. But 343 is a weird studio. They make Halo games that are, that are like halfway there. The funny thing about them being called Halo Studios is like, it's very much, the 343 to Halo Studios is very much like ironic because 343 is like a halfway to just calling them Halo anyway,
Right.
because it's a Halo reference directly. And they're moving to Unreal Engine 5. They're working on another game, presumably.
Yeah, the shit where they were like transvestigating the Master Chief in Unreal 5. Did you see that shit?
I did not
like
see
the
that
ratios of the model, and it's like this is the results of woke media.
shit. That is
It was so
like
fucking
these
funny to me.
motherfuckers can't be serious.
It was so funny to
They
me.
cannot actually believe this shit. This has
They
to
want
be
to be
something.
oppressed so badly.
They want to be oppressed, so they want to be gaming so badly. But I mean, one way or another, we'll see what this does for Halo. I personally think Halo is kind of, it's done its job. I don't. If there's more Halo, I think it needs a real reboot, a real like from the beginning reboot. Either that or just like new character, new everything.
Yeah, it's pretty stagnant.
I don't need to. I really don't need to see Master Chief anymore, especially after that fucking Paramount show
Oof.
where you got to see a little too much of him. If you know what I'm
Fucking
saying.
oof.
I-
But if you see his face, you can't connect with it.
It's like that's not even it. It's more like,
No, but that was their explanation for showing his face.
oh, that's why they showed his face. It's like you can't which is insane because I think it did the opposite.
yeah.
I think it was like, ooh, it's
Like
you
I
know,
don't like this person.
Yeah, it's like when you're become infatuated with somebody you're chatting with in a online for some fucking reason, and then you see their face, and you're like, oh shit, I made a huge mistake.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like
I don't actually like this.
it's kind of like if they were to voice. Well, I guess part of it was how do I make a similar situation here? It's like when you have a character that's so well known and so identifiable by a particular set of features, and then
Yeah.
you remove layers of it
Yeah,
in order to try to like make it more appealing or something that people can connect with.
yeah,
It like loses the
You-
effect of what it like you can almost apply personification to like the shape of his helmet,
right.
the glint of his like yellow visor. It's just like the way that he
just
was
the
like,
movements
that,
of
yeah,
the
movements
character.
of it.
Yeah, you're like once you get rid of those some of those barriers, there's the mystique is gone.
Right, exactly.
And it's there's just someone telling you this is who he is. It's the same. Speaking of, actually, when they started really focusing in on Zero Suit Samus, like Samus without the suit,
that's
I was like, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? And even Smash Brothers itself treats Samus with the suit and without the suit as two totally different things. and it almost feels like the suit is more interesting than the person in it, and you don't want to feel that way. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have something make you feel that way because they Barbie dolled something, you know. But not saying Barbie's a good brand for the audience it's for at this point, but you know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah. We had some good games release. Meta Horror, Refake Tagio.
Why did you say it like that? I played some of the demo and I actually really enjoyed it. It was more Persona than I thought it would be.
I mean, I hear it's basically just Persona 6, just not in a high school setting.
Right. It's definitely Persona 5 with a different theme, gameplay wise at least.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's good. I'm glad they did that. And it's out on everything. It's not just a PlayStation exclusive to start with. So
it runs okay on Steam Deck, surprisingly.
Yeah.
You can play it reasonably at 30 FPS.
It's interesting because the game looks like a PS3 game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're doing that is taxing anything like that. That's the kind of game I think.
Let me clarify. You say that in a very loving, affirmative way.
Yeah,
because games don't need to be.
Games don't need to be like completely flavor blasted. I genuinely mean like if all games looked like PS3, PS4 games, I wouldn't give a shit. That's perfect. That's like a perfect point for them to be at. And I mean, it surprises me that they didn't even attempt like a PS4 version.
Oh yeah, like for the continued backwards compatibility.
Yeah, just for the sake of completeness, because you know a lot
reaching audiences. I'm sure there's still millions and millions of people that only have PS4
that will still and that will play it on PS4. Like even Persona 3 Reload came out on PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah.
Or did I say Persona 4? Persona 3 Reload. I don't know why I said 4. But what was it? I think what's it called? Sean Layden, whatever. The former Sony like PlayStation CEO or the fuck he was, said something about the console power arms race is about to be over.
Yeah.
Mainly because
he said it in nowhere else to go.
He said it in very exaggerated terms, like you have to have an 8K monitor and be in a dark room to even see the difference. It's not like that, but it's more like the differences that you're going to start getting won't matter to people. They're going to be invisible differences. It's stuff like, and I think video game consoles are going to start becoming more appliance like Switch, even though it even acts like a toaster. Is kind of at that point,
right,
where it's a thing that plays games that people know what it is and it has a lot of games on it.
Yeah.
And people aren't worried about the particulars of it. It's like when you get a toaster, you're not worried about if it fucking does this or that, or you just want it to toast a fucking toast, and that's how most
it's like they're not
regular
looking
people
at
are.
Exactly how many seconds it takes to toast the toaster.
Yeah.
It's like if it toasts it in 10 seconds, if it toasts it in 20 seconds, it's fine.
Right. If it works. Yeah. It works. If it doesn't work, then we need a new one.
Right.
But for most people, we're not at a point where the shit doesn't work. People are happy playing Mario Kart for another 10 years.
Which, frankly, to me, I'm glad we finally got here. Focus on the games.
Yeah.
That's what it's always been about. Just focus on the games.
Right. And, the more
I'm hopeful that that's what like the PSSR and shit like that is going to actually enable.
Yeah.
Is that it's not going to take as much time to develop games, because that's been the big like looming darkness hanging over the industry, is the cost of development.
Right.
Like, and going back to AI, where like you were saying like potentially worried about AI taking people's jobs, I don't think that's the case at all. Everything I've seen in like the data industry, there's no talk of replacing jobs.
Yeah,
there's only the talks of either adding jobs or just everybody going faster, right? So it's like somebody wants a report, an analysis, whatever it is.
They
like,
use that
instead of it taking a week, it'll take a day. Instead of taking 10 people to perform this, it'll take 2. And you can just multiply that and have do 5 analysis things instead of 1.
Yeah.
So it's more about the rate of doing the things that you want to do and how quickly you can automate that. That I'm hopeful that we can do shit like that. So like not like generating art assets,
right? Yeah.
But generating like just optimizing shit. You feed it your art, your own art, and then it helps you sort of multiply that across the game.
As a tool, I'd like it to like say you make a 3D model, and it's got a really high poly count. It doesn't need it. Your game engine, your needs for the game require that model to be lower resolution. When resolution doesn't necessarily just mean pixels. It means like, what is created to resolve the image. But then there are tools already to reduce that, like in 3D modeling software and in game engines and everything like that. But imagine if
you have to know how to use those tools.
You have to know how to use them right. Imagine if you had AI, you just kind of run the model through it.
Yeah, and you use natural language to do it.
And it prunes. Yeah. It prunes things that it doesn't need according to your according to your polygon budget.
Yeah.
And maybe it's even more efficient than you can be by hand. Yeah, but exactly. It does not creating the art. It's just a tool to help you optimize the art, like you were saying.
Yeah. It's like, so let's take a human person as an example.
Yeah.
Right. Let's say you've designed like you've got this skin tone, you've got this sort of like hair fineness and color and texture. You could design like a couple hairs. You could design a patch of skin. You could design the skeletal frame. And then you could say, use all these things, build me a human person. And it'll basically like take that hair, and instead of an individual person having to go and like model the hair, all of the individual hairs and strands and the physics of them, like it just populates the hair on the head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
shit like that.
What's it called? There's a Speed Tree has been doing stuff like that for years.
Right, but I'm saying like now let's take that to the next level.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's stuff we already do.
This person's 6'6", and I want to run this on a Nintendo Switch. Go optimize it for me. And it'll go like it'll ask for recommendations. Like here's 3 ways we could optimize it. Lower the poly count, lower the lighting, whatever it is, right? And then it just goes and like applies all those settings changes. Like that's good shit.
That's more in line with with how it should be used and not abused.
Right.
But if you're sitting there saying, because there's already games on, speaking of Switch, actually, on the eShop that have fully AI generated artwork, and they're like they're based on like
shit where
the fairy tales, like the Disney
stealing
shit
from the world and stealing from other things like
that. That shit can shove it up right up its own ass. But I guess what can you do about that either? You know what I mean?
That's definitely a situation where I do think at some point, like legality wise, it's going to catch up to it. I think the owners of LLMs are already getting hit with lawsuits. Like there's a big issue of trust in general with how the LLMs are using the information.
In case y'all don't know,
not
LLM
even
is
just asset and art wise, but like data wise.
Yeah, that language learning model.
Huge data leaks of people being like, do this data analysis.
Yeah.
And then like that shit leaks out into the wild. Like I think it was Samsung or something. Like their fucking like quarterly earnings report data from it was like leaked to like outside people that got a hold of it from like asking the right questions because they were using it to like prepare for their quarterly earnings report.
Yeah.
And so like it just instantly destroys the trust of using a tool like that when that's not in the best interest of the people that own
the tools. Yeah.
So I think it'll get there, to be honest. I think it's gonna get better rather than worse.
I think there's gonna be
how bad it is.
Yeah. It's gonna be like, I don't know. Various industries have their like straight up and then they level off. Like even fucking not that I'm a big purveyor of the shit, but like alcohol had their up, they had their crime, and then they had the all right, fuck it, y'all can have some with these rules in place. Yeah.
Right. Just be responsible with the things that we're given.
Yeah. And we know some of you are gonna fucking abuse it anyway, but
right. It's just you need to handle the majority.
At least there's a lot.
Yeah, you need to have a framework in place, a legal framework to be checks and balances and stuff. I've got other topics, but they're meatier, and I think we can save them for another session.
We'll save them, yeah.
Cool.
So, I mean, that was pretty good for one coming back to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a little bit of mad, we got a little bit of
my travels.
A little bit of fun, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of, a little bit of outside information. Healthy. You
got a hire fans?
Do I have a hire fans? I know I've given myself the homework of finding one, but I just doing other shit before I come here, so
sad.
I know, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm trying to find it. All right. No hire fans. I've definitely got one for next time, though, relative to the topic we'll talk about. So if you like the content, shoot us an email at memoryleakpodcast@gmail.com. Know the memoryleakpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and YouTube. So yeah. Until next time, gamers. Peace out. Relax. Enjoy life. Love those around you.
Yes.
Love yourself.
Yes. Happy Halloween. Actually.
Yeah, spook out.
Yeah, it'll be close by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
All right.
Deuces.